molts. There's some intelligence that realizes the skin is a little dark now. It's lost its color. It's not going to attract female snakes. It's rough. It's catching on rocks. So it's time to go. Yeah, it's over. It's fulfilled its purpose. It's going to just get thing. All right. So there's the event: a snake and the molting of the skin. Now we're going to look at it from 2 points of view. So there's a point of view from the skin. Yeah, the skin has been assuming it's the snake the whole time. Its whole relevance is not of being the skin, it's of being the snake. But it's the skin, yeah? So the skin, feeling this experience starting to get ready to happen, this molting, it's telling the snake, it jacks into this little snake brain and says, buy a lot of moisturizer. Don't go out into the sun. And watch those rocks. Don't hit those rocks. Don't walk out. And so the snake, now being identified with the skin, will start taking that advice as its advice, and it will be scared shit of this incredible relieving event called getting new skin. Yeah? So the event, which is a lot, very, very freeing and a huge source of relief, will be seen as Armageddon from the skin's point of view. From the snake's point of view, it's hallelujah. That's what's happening all day. Right in where you call you are. There's no singular you. There's a dualistic contest going on. Like Jesus said, you can't serve two masters at the same time. Well, at the same time, there's presentations of 2 points of view. The one point of view that's represented by silence or the pause, and then the chattering, yapping point of view. Yeah? One is totally engaged in time, the other is timeless. One's a thing, or seemingly a thing, the other's a no thing. Yeah. The presentation is always available at all times. The other one, it's available quite a lot of the time. That's why the infinite always will win out in the finite, because it can outweigh it. Yeah? And in this case, the selfing that seems really fast, that pulled the trigger on you before, well, this thing, what you are, has never even drawn. It's always been out. It can never be beaten by the selfing. Yes?
You mentioned Jesus. I kept thinking while you were talking, didn't Jesus say, seek and you shall find, ask and it shall be given? It just seems to be opposed to what you're
contradicting,
saying.
yeah,
Exactly.
of course.
Yeah.
You said a lot of things, just like I'll say a lot of things here. That they always have to contradict. Because what we're attempting to do is speak from a thought system. And the thought system, just look at the word paradox, yeah? What is a paradox? It's something that's confusing to the thought system that's looking at it, yeah? It's not paradoxical, that's how life works. But to our head, it looks paradoxical, yeah? So in a way, all these things are said, yeah, seek. But what did he say seek? Hey, seek, maybe satsang. Yeah? And then you'll get the message, and then you'll know that you don't need to find out. Who knows? Who knows what the hell was going on? You know? This is just an invitation. If it hits you, follow it. Let your mind go there. Because it's not going to be drawn, it's not going to be led there by the selfing. No freaking way. But this can override the selfing because it's about what's prior to that construction. What you are already. Yeah? What doesn't need to be added onto or can't be subtracted from. Yes? It's just innately what it is right now as it always has been. And it's always available because it can't be anything else. Yeah? Awareness cannot be anything other than awareness. Yes? See what happens. What happened with me is I found out a lot about entertaining it, and the entertaining never ends. I'm entertaining it all the time. I'm not. My mind's trying to entertain tons of things, but the mind is entertaining it all the time. All the time. That's the beauty of it. Yeah? You can find rest there. So here, the idea of being a self, which is the feeling of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. Yes? Long-lasting, independent, separate entity, a unit. The flagpole, the holder of the flag is the body. Yeah? There it puts it there. Okay? So selfing is a mental process that its attempt, or what it attempts to do, is produce the sense of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. Yeah? And then to reinforce that sense. And then also morph anything and everything it ever gets in contact with to fit that sense. Yeah? Okay, so there's the selfing. Now the self, which is a verb, it's a product of a process. There's no self, obviously, so it doesn't have its own generation of light. Yeah? So it has to, for it to appear, it has to be remembered. Yeah? Because it can't appear in and of itself. So it has to appear to what is real to be real. Yes? So the reality it seems to have has to be lent to it by the reality, which is you and I. Yeah? So the selfing introduces, reinforces, repeats this invitation all day, and then the reality buys into it. Hey, I'm a body. I'm this Paul who was born and who's now gotten run over twice in one night and has got these weird character effects he doesn't want to share with anyone, or whatever it may be. Yes. So okay, hooks. Now the selfing is the dominant theme. Now you're living in interpretation. Yeah. But for that to keep happening, it has to constantly invite the mind to forget itself. Yeah. And how it does that is it remembers what it's not. So that's why the thought system and most of our lives are based on yesterday and tomorrow. Because the self, when I think about me 4 years ago, how am I pictured? I'm pictured as a body, yeah? You couldn't conjure your spirit up 4 years ago, because this, oh, this is how my spirit looked 4 years ago. Just like it looks now. You know what I mean? But my body, oh yeah, I was younger then, smarter, whatever it may be. All these attributes I'd give it. All right, so now the thought system's thinking about me, and I'm pictured as a body. You can say anything else, but this is what I found to be true. Yeah. Okay. So now what happens is it remembers me. Back then. Yeah. But where does the remembering occur? Now. You can't remember yourself 4 years ago. You remember yourself 4 years ago to remember yourself now. Yes. So now you feel. You remember Paul, and then that produces the sense of being Paul now. Yeah? Okay, now, all right. And then the mind's very concerned about what's going to happen to me as a body, be it 5 minutes from now, later on tonight. Do I have that Agnadas and that movie at home? I can't, got to have some secure entertainment available when I get home. Got to feed this fucking crazy monkey all day. All right? So now it's worrying, oh, what's going to happen to me 4 years from now? And again, the same thing. Pictured as a body. And now, because it's the future, we don't really think it's remembering, but it's exactly the same. So you're thinking about you 4 years from now, and you're remembering you in the future. Yeah? You as a body's being conjured up in the future. You're remembering you. And the remembering of you in the future is happening now. This is how the sense of self gets reinforced all freaking day. Yeah? It doesn't have its own light. So for it to appear, it has to be remembered. Because you'll never see it in this moment. Never. You'll never see self in this moment. But you see, quote unquote, you see self in the past and the future. Yeah? So you remember that self that was seeing 4 years ago, and then you remember that self that will be seeing 4 years from now, but there's never a self seeing right now, ever. It's being remembered. It was seeing, it will be seeing, therefore it is seeing. It's a big freaking leap. It's not so at all. If you look at it even for a few minutes of raw attention, the whole house of cards will collapse. You'll just see it for what it is, which it isn't. It's all pointing, all pointing. It's insinuating you're a someone, it's implying you're a someone, it's reinforcing that you're a someone. Our language reinforces you're someone, all your friends reinforce that you're a someone, and then you reinforce that they're a someone, and we have this giant hullabaloo of someones, yeah? All unhappy, a lot of them irritable, restless, and discontent, yet we can't put a finger on why. Because we're trying to put a finger on it from the problem. So I heard this, and that's what happened. It gave me, my mind moved, and instead of looking from what I wasn't, I started to see what I'm not being produced. Yeah? And all I saw, I never saw the end product. All I saw was the producing. And then I realized all that I needed to do in the past was see the producing, and then I took the role of the product. That's what happens. Reality gets convinced that it's not real. And then it makes what's not real seem real as fucking hell. Yeah? You are the reality. What's looking is what's looking. Yeah? How could something that's false have the ability to appear real? It would have to appear real to what's real to seem real. Yeah? Where else is it going to get a sense of reality? If it's false, where is it going to be able to find any reality? From other false things? It says false, it's an acronym we use in recovery. False evidence appears real. The emphasis or the importance is to who? False evidence appears real to you. False evidence that cannot be real. It can only reach the level of appearing real, but it needs a you to appear real too. You're the reality. I'm the reality. And I'm lending my reality to all these things based on my identification as a thing. Yeah? I want to make this thing important, I'm going to make these things important. It's called the bondage of self. It didn't happen 20 years ago in Omaha, Nebraska. You weren't tattooed with a bonding thing. It's an activity of the mental process all day. Yeah? Seems like there's a choice. There isn't, but it's great when there's an immunity to it. You just don't fall on that side of it anymore. You got some freaking really lasting relief that stabilizes, and so you can get on with it. Yeah. Your mind is freed from the encumbrance of constantly being arrested by the consequential level because it's about you, and now can rest and start exploring its own nature, which is very, very freaking spacious and not of a thing. Not by disavowing or denying the thing, you'll embody it in the thing. Yeah? You'll be more unique as an individual when you give up the idea of being an individual. This is the message that downloads through me. We haven't veered from it for years, and I guess we probably won't. You're never going to come and we're going to be on to the next big thing, because this is the only thing to see. Because if you don't see this, you'll be looking from it for the rest of your life, and you won't even know it. You'll be behind the 8 ball trying to find the 8 ball. Yeah? This puts you, instead of trying to look at what you are from what you're not, you'll just move. And the game board looks totally different than if you start a game board at step 3, it will look totally different than if you start at step 0. I'm saying the feeling of being you is a demonstration of step 3. You are now, your starting point is an end of a process called selfing. That took time. You are actually prior to that. See, that's the beautiful information. This isn't about, oh, I found a new, better way to get freed from the bondage. This is prior to the bondage. The only freedom from bondage is prior to the bondage, not after the bondage. If it's after the bondage, it's going to be bondage, free, free, bondage, bondage, free, free, bondage. It's going to be made into an experience which is dualistically constructed. You'll feel free at 10:30, and 11:30 you'll feel bondage. Yeah? This is prior to it. We were never bound, therefore there's no need to seek freedom from it. That's the freedom. The freedom isn't like you got over something. The freedom is what you've been trying to get out of, you were never in. That's the freedom. You were never in. It's not like you crawled out of it, because if there's a feeling that you crawled out of it, there'll be a feeling that will feel just as real as that one, that you crawled back in it again. You know what I mean? I see it. People believe they achieve something, and let's say they achieve peace, and then you think, oh, it's going to be like a great vacation. But now they have to be vigilant about the peace. Because if they make one mistake, they're going to lose the peace. That ain't peace. It's peace from gaining and losing. Peace from finding and not finding. It's from connected and disconnected. That's where the peace lies. Prior to that, not after it. Yeah. You were never bound. So why the hell are you trying to get out of something you're not in? That's the biggest That's the one level of being in it that many people aren't seeing. This huge business of trying to get out of it is just another form of being in it. It's so insane. People who are sharing that somehow something happened, yes? And if you ask them, did you do anything to produce this? They'd have to say no. And yet, tons of people are coming every week, going on retreats and going on intensives, attempting to produce it. But if you talk to the person and they were honest, they said, no, I have no idea how it happened. Yeah? But let's spend 3 weeks together and get to the bottom of it. You're going to get to the bottom of something, but not it. Yeah? Then it's 3 weeks. Oh, if that didn't work, then 6 weeks. And then it's just more. Like people, sometimes they do talks and they demand I spend 2 hours there. Because they're charging people like I'm a performing animal. You know what I mean? This is an invitation. Oh, you gotta go from 7 to 9. No, I don't. This is an invitation. It's not a dissertation. More isn't better. You can get the whole ocean by one drop. You do not have to drown in it. There's no nobility in drowning in it. I loved it so much I drowned in searching for it. You blew it, bro. Here, just one, oh, that's the ocean. Yeah. See it really, you're at the spiritual bus stop, and then the bus comes. The door swings wide open. Oh, I've been sitting here longing for you for so long. Get on. Oh, years I've been practicing. Yeah, on. Go. Oh, no, I don't know if this is the right bus. Get on. The door swung. Get on now. No, the mental process has an investment in the longing. You're a longer, whatever you want to call it. You know, you're a this, you're a that. It's just like the story we used to say about I don't know if I should go there with that. The poopa scoopa. Poopa scoopa. There's a thing in AA that I love, and because I used to do workshops in recovery for years on this step called the fourth step. So I worked out of one chapter in the big book of AA, which is like the text of AA, called How It Works, like every Monday for like 16 years. Yeah. And so there's this part, and then my mind changed during that process, and then all the words that I was reading every week took new life. Yeah. I mean, the word self, I could see it as a foreign installment, like a parasitical movement. Yes. And the beautiful thing is, what happened is my mind shifted. And so instead of trying to be free as a self, I realized, because what happens is, if you finally entertain you're not that, the next thing the mind will be able to entertain is I can be free from it. Not free as it, not therapize it to make it better, but free radically from it. But if it's stuck in identification, it can never go there. You'll be entertaining freedom, but as it, which is another form of bondage. Look at it. Look at how many spiritual books you may have bought. How many self-help books and how many meetings you've gone to, you know? How many you paid an exorbitant fee for this book that says the same thing that he said 2,000 years ago. It will go on and on and on. It's a form of slavery. So I was doing these workshops, and so there was this thing of a beautiful statement. It says, being convinced that self, this small s, manifested in all these ways, here we go, is what has defeated us. We will now look at its, meaning self's, common manifestations. Yeah? And so they give us, and the next paragraph it says this word resentment. So it says resentment. So if you follow the logic, resentment is a manifestation of self in one's life. Yeah? But most people who have that manifestation in life claim it to be theirs, their resentment, which is the act of being identified, obviously. If something that was foreign was in this opportunity, and you were taking yourself to be the host, and yet all the expressions of the visitor, while they were being expressed, you kept claiming them to be yours, that would be called the act of being identified as. Yeah? You would be identifying behavior that was Stanley's as yours, because you didn't see the difference between you and Stanley. Okay, so here it is. The story, the example is, so there's this guy who has a beautiful house with a really nice lawn in the back. got a nice porch, and he jumps, in the morning he jumps off it with no shoes on, and he runs around in the morning dew. He loves it, and he has like lawn bowling on the weekend and picnics. His whole life is really based on this beautiful lawn. So one day he jumps off, right, you know, in the morning dew, and he lands in some shit, you know. So he goes, wow, what the hell's going on here? So he climbs up on the porch, cleans it off, and then his reaction, immediately his life gets smaller. He has to wear shoes now. See, this is how selfing, how we accommodate selfing, because we take it to be us. So now he's got to wear shoes. So the next day he goes out and he sees this shit, a lot of shit on the lawn, and it smells. He's got to call up his friends. No more lawn bowling this weekend. No picnic. He can't lay down in it or nothing. What does he do? He goes in and he tries to forget it. Yeah? Goes back out, there's even more. What does he do? He pulls the shades and he buys pictures of lawns, and he starts reminiscing about lawns, and he has some people come over, have the same situation. Now, oh, lawns, they're so great. Remember what we used to do on lawns? And then other people have this problem, which is pretty prolific. A lot of people have it. Hear about this guy. Oh, yes, I was so sorry about what's happening, you know. And so a guy comes in and says, hey, I hear you have a problem. He says, yeah, I have a problem. I have this beautiful lawn. I can't use it. I can't enjoy it. He says, all right, here's my idea. Get a pooper scooper, yeah? Maybe get two. And if you get good at scooping poop, you'll get a point where there'll be some like maybe 4 by 7 feet of virgin land in your lawn, and you can stand there, you know, and get a hit of what it could have been like if it was just the way it was. So he does. He gets the pooper scooper, and he gets pretty good, you know? And other people have this problem. Call him up and say, hey, what's your answer? He says, oh, get these pooper scoopers, you know? Then he realizes then he's getting a lot of calls, so he gets his own autographed models of pooper scoopers, and he gets asked to speak at big conventions. And now he becomes a circuit speaker, and he's talking about pooper scoopers, and he's got videos of him pooper scooping. You got to be really fast, get those hefty bags. So now he writes books, and he's got this big identity as a pooper scooper. I mean, he's making tons of money, and the problem's always persisting, so he's never going to run out of clientele. And so one day a guy comes in and says, hey, I've heard you had a problem. And he goes, no, I don't. I've mastered the problem. Look at me. Look at these pictures of me and the president's lawn, fucking Kentucky Derby lawn. This is not cleaning up, you know. All right. He says, well, if you want to know the answer, I'll tell you. He says, I don't know. No, I got the answer. He says, well, find the dog. What? Find the dog. Now you would think that the guy would say, fuck, if I get rid of the dog, there goes the shit. There's no shit without a dog, yeah? But the thing is, he's got all those scoopers. He's got the business. He's a circuit speaker. He's got a new book coming out, you know? Pooper Scooping, you know, 4th edition. Yeah? So that you would think he'd have an incredible movement to go to the freedom, but he's got a hesitation. That's the selfing. Because it's about you, you hold back. Because you take yourself to be the dog. And so the last thing you think of getting rid of the dog is therapizing the dog, socializing the dog, spiritualizing the dog, but the dog's still shitting all over your life. Yeah? But you can't entertain being free from it because you're identified with it. Just check it out. Entertain it. See if it works. If you start traveling later, come back to a talk. Buy a shirt. Throw some cash at me. Yeah? If you know, sometimes people can't bear it. They've got to make it into something. So there's plenty of situations you can do that. Yeah. But this, if you come back here, like people say, what topic are you going to be speaking about next week? The same topic. Never changes. Because what's the point? If this view is incorrect, nothing else will be, literally. Yeah. They have a thing in Buddhism, if you look at it as a linear process called the Eightfold Noble Path, where they have the 4 presentations, the 4 noble truths, which is like desire. Now, I like to change that a little, because what selfing is a desire to become. It's like the biggest desire of all. Selfing wants to become a self. And also, it's so insane, it's assuming it's a self that it doesn't want to be anymore. So it's wanting to become something and unbecome something. Yeah. And it's like a slinky that just motivates its own movement, yeah? So the selfing goes on and on and on. To me, that's the source of all malaise. So it's the desire to become, yeah? And to unbecome. Okay, so then he says, all right, the Eightfold Noble Path. So this is, if you start going this way, you may get some relief from that, yeah? And if you look at it as a linear presentation, the first statement is right view. And then they have like right livelihood, right meditation, right understanding, right service, yes? But if you look at it from the point of view, the right view isn't produced by right meditation. The view produces the right meditation. If the view is right, then the livelihood is right. You can't get the view right by having the right livelihood. In other words, the right migrates from the view into all your activities. It's not produced by your activities. Yeah? The right view is the starting point. That will make what you used to call wrong as being neutral. Yeah? Things will change. The way this place is interpreted will go through a drastic revision with no thought or effort on your part. You won't be picking out the topics. You won't be turning the page. Things will just start happening, yes? And what you'll see, the bottom line is, the end result will be a distillation into all the messages, and is that I'm not that, yeah? I am not that which the thought system is pointing at, or is being used to point at, which is the senses are being used to point at. There is nothing there. There's just the pointing. I am the seeing of it, yeah? Yeah. Go with it or don't, you know. When you leave here, I'm going to be entertaining it no matter what, because it's past the point of that all my little shenanigans make no impression. Your mind has never left this. It never will leave it. That's what it is. All there is seeing. Now you can think you're going to try to align your looking with it, but if you just fucking surrender being the looker, you'll realize there's no need for alignment. You are that which you're looking for right now. Yeah. And then you get brazen with it. You know, fucking, oh, I'm like that, but I'm still crazy. Fuck that. You know? I hate when people share, oh, I love this meeting. I feel so great, but Wednesday, I'll have to go to work. You see how the thought system pledges allegiances to its idea of time? Wednesday overrides the feeling that you're having now. Tomorrow is used to override the feeling or the event that's happening now. Yesterday is being overriding this event all day. The heist is happening all day, and we're bitching about everything, and we're not noticing that. Any questions?
Well, I don't put a cap on the evening, so.
I just want to
Whenever
see
it feels
this
right.
thing. I'm not going to mention the name.
Oh, that was on the back.
Heart of silence.
That was on the back.
Can it just be silence? What's the heart of silence? How about the liver of silence? Is that underappreciated? The spleen of silence.
Ooh, the
Jesus
teacher's
Christ,
gonna
there's
be
so much
angry.
symbolism, all meant for the body. Everyone's presenting a spiritual path like a body's journey. I'm on a spiritual path. What goes on a path? A body. Spirit doesn't go on a path. Spirit doesn't go to the mountaintop and fall into the valley, but the body does. The most antithetical presentation of not body is framed as a body. Spiritual practices, spiritual journeys. What practices the spiritual practices? Spirit or a body? The brain is part of the body. Yes? The thing that's producing thoughts is part of the body. Your sanctimonious in is out. This is a thing. There's no silence in this thing. If you hit this, if you hit the thing and take it to be you, silence is another conceptual idea. If you go through this thing and maybe entertain you're not, you'll sense the silence. It's totally different. Then you realize, why do I need to add an organ of the body on it? Heart of silence, you know? Pure awareness. Turbocharged Buddhism. Extreme radical Taoism. This isn't like a fucking physical exercise. Yes, I'm going to go do my workout, my spiritual workout. I'll do turbocharged Buddhism. I'll get there faster than... What's that being framed as? A body. What's the cornerstone? What's this touchstone? The body all day. All you're trying to get out of it is reinforcing that you're in it. We like to keep it very ordinary, so nothing special can be taken out of tonight. Oh, his loving gaze. Fuck that. You don't need a loving gaze. You need to realize what you're not. Then the loving gaze may come and go at different times. It's not going to be yours. Yeah? If the moment it arises in a moment, it arises in a moment. But you don't pin your hopes on it. It's a moving phenomena. Awakeness is ordinary dog shit stuff. It's in our inherent condition. It's honoring it is being it. Like Ramana Maharshi says, to know God is to be God. Not to know God and then you go through the intermediary stage of being a knower of God, and then a supreme knower of God, and then the ultimate supreme knower of God, and then, whoop, I die, and you never get the being. No. To know God, be God. On that world, in that space, that's what knowledge is. Knowledge is to know what you're not, and then the being of what you are. Yeah? Because nothing else can be known. You cannot know what you are. You can know what you're not. Yeah? But what you are cannot be known. It can't be turned into an object to your false subject. It's fool's play. It's just going to cause more and more bondage in a sense. To the point is you think you're free, you'll have a sense of freedom, but it's not freeing at all. People sometimes have that sense, they call me up and they can't just break down and cry. There's no one here to cry, and they're just bummed out about something, they just don't get to the point. They got 20 minutes of non-duality babble. There is no person, and then finally, oh, you know, she left me far out, thank you. You know what I mean? That's the experience. She left you. That's the experience. Why do you want to abort it and try to make it into something it isn't? It's an experience. It comes and goes. It's probably appropriate. You like the person, and they leave. You know? But it's 10, 20 minutes to get there. Well, there's no person, there's no I, and there was no one to leave, and there was, you know, it's like, just shit already. You know? Just get off the pot, you'll be much happier. It's an experience, you know. It doesn't mean you're the experiencer, unless it does, and sometimes you can tell it means that when you're trying to deny it every second. Yeah? You ever see people that are denying, they believe they are quite a lot. Yeah? You're not that. It's not like you're not that, you're not that. You know, to emphasize it. It's you're not that, and that's that. Shit happens, bums me out. Am I the one? There's no one that got bummed out, but bumming out happened for sure. What do you think this is? This is a receiver of a dualistic experience. It's not blissful all day. You know, you ever have sweat on a hot day right here? It drives you fucking crazy. But every time you dry it, it's there again. Oh, Jesus, it's like the most irritating thing. Yeah? There's no one to have that experience. Yes, but there never has been, and the experience happens. Yeah? Why does there have to be an experiencer for an experience to happen? There never has been, and there never will be. This isn't a message to deny experiences. And it's not a message to have an experience with. It's not a path to illumination. It illuminates whatever path you're on. If that path is going to work that day, it will illuminate that. How bright, who knows? But it's the illuminating quality. whatever moment you're in, you're the light of that moment. The light, there isn't any moment in the light. You're the light. You're the moment. You and I are lending reality all day to things. Do we lose any of our reality in all that lending? No. It's not like money. It's not like a thing. It's not like jewels. It's an infinite. Whatever the mind can entertain, it can manifest in a sense. The reality is lending reality all day and all night. It's lending reality to thoughts. It's lending reality to all these things. You've never run out. It's not like attention, you know. You get attention Sunday night in a big bundle, and then you got, oh, Thursday night I ran out of it. So you go into like a coma for 3 days until Sunday you get or you just watch Die Hard 12 every movie. Then oh, I got the bundle of attention. I got to spend it wisely. It's not a quantity, is it? Is it a quantity? Have you ever run out of attention? Attention just leaves things. You never lose attention. You just lose attention in a thing. You lose interest in the thing, not in the interest. Yeah, the interest just moves to something else, and it can move and rest and fly in nothingness while it's busily taking care of what shows up that day. Yeah, it's got plenty to go around. It can handle what's going to arise that day, and yet still rest in what it truly is. Yeah. You're not going to get exhausted by it. It's actually going to be very relaxing when situations don't seem to be promoting relaxation. You'll be the source of the relaxation. That's that for a second time. Don't get me going. I'll just go on and on. Because I'll tell you, man, I'm happy I heard it. I really am. I have a lot. I don't follow those people anymore, but I'm grateful that I heard it from whoever it was I heard it from. Literally. I mean, they saved me a lot of time.